In 96 months, a non-profit research lab with no products and 11 employees became a $90 billion empire that rewired the global economy. They had no revenue model, no customers, no clear path to profit. Just one contrarian bet that artificial general intelligence was closer than every PhD in the field believed. On November 17, 2023, in a video call that lasted under 30 minutes, the OpenAI board fired Sam Altman as CEO. 5 days later, he walked back in with a new board and evaluation that had, charitably, ignored the entire situation. The directors who fired him missed the most consequential corporate comeback of the decade. Here is the exact strategy that turned a Sand Hill Road dinner conversation into the most important AI company of our generation, and the precise moment it became unstoppable. I am Tycoon Decoded. Today, how Sam Altman, Elon Musk, and Greg Brockman built a $90 billion AI empire in 8 years from a non-profit charter. And why the smartest researchers at Google, with a 10-year head start and effectively unlimited capital, watched a smaller team ship the product that defined the decade. The story begins in July 2015, at a private dinner at the Rosewood Hotel on Sand Hill Road in Menlo Park. Elon Musk was there. Sam Altman was there. Greg Brockman, the former CTO of Stripe, was there. Ilya Sutskever, the legendary researcher who had just helped Google build AlexNet, was being aggressively recruited away.
Indeed, the chef has
The premise was almost absurd. They believed Google and DeepMind were on a path to develop artificial general intelligence inside a closed corporate structure. They believed this was, to put it mildly, a problem worth $10 billion to address. So they did the most counterintuitive thing in modern Silicon Valley history. They started a non-profit. The initial pledge was $1 billion, though far less was actually wired. The mission statement was idealistic to the point of sounding naive. Develop artificial general intelligence that benefits all of humanity. Publish the research. Open source the breakthroughs. Hire the best AI talent on Earth and pay them, on paper, less than they could earn at Google. The skeptics had a field day. The conventional wisdom was that AI research required corporate scale, corporate compute budgets, and corporate secrecy. A nonprofit, the consensus held, could not possibly compete. The conventional wisdom was about to be expensive for everyone who held it. Why did Altman believe a tiny nonprofit could outpace Google DeepMind, a team 10 times its size? The answer is not what you would expect, and it sets up everything that followed. The early years were rough. From 2016 through 2018, OpenAI shipped impressive research papers, including work on reinforcement learning that beat the world's best Dota 2 players. But there was no product, no revenue, no clear commercial future. The compute costs were brutal. Training large neural networks required tens of millions of dollars in GPU time, and the nonprofit structure made fundraising for that compute almost impossible. Then, in February 2018, Elon Musk walked away. Officially, the reason cited was conflicts of interest with Tesla's own AI work. Unofficially, multiple sources have since reported that Musk wanted to take direct control of OpenAI, was refused by Altman and the board, and exited rather than continue funding a project he could not steer. His departure left a massive funding hole. Altman's response was the first pivotal decision of the empire. In March 2019, OpenAI created a capped profit subsidiary called OpenAI LP. Investors could earn up to 100 times their investment, after which all returns flowed back to the nonprofit parent. It was a structure that, on paper, preserved the original mission while unlocking the one thing the original mission could not get: real money, real compute, real scale. 4 months later, Microsoft wired $1 billion and signed an exclusive cloud partnership for Azure. The skeptics called it a sellout. The skeptics, in a move that surprised absolutely nobody who had been paying attention, were wrong again. Because the Microsoft deal was not really a deal for money. It was a deal for compute. OpenAI now had access to one of the largest supercomputing clusters on Earth, custom-built for them by Microsoft, at a scale Google's internal teams could not easily match for external partners. In June 2020, OpenAI released GPT-3 through a closed API. Developers had to apply for access. The waitlist exploded. Within months, every interesting AI product on the consumer internet was quietly using the GPT-3 API as its backend. Jasper, Copy.ai, and 1,000 other startups built entire companies on top of an API that, technically, did not have a public price sheet for its first year. Was OpenAI a research lab or a platform business? By the end of 2021, the answer was obvious to everyone except the people running it. The platform was eating the lab. Then came the moment that defined the decade. On November 30th, 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT as a free research preview. There was no marketing campaign, no paid press. Internal estimates expected maybe 100,000 users in the first week. They hit 1 million users in 5 days. They hit 100 million users in 2 months, making ChatGPT the fastest-growing consumer product in the history of the internet. For reference, it took Instagram 2.5 years to hit 100 million. It took TikTok 9 months. ChatGPT did it in 60 days, with zero marketing spend, on a research preview that the team almost did not ship at all. Greg Brockman has since admitted that the launch was rushed because they were worried Anthropic, the rival lab founded by ex-OpenAI researchers, was about to ship something similar. The decision to ship on November 30th was, in retrospect, the most valuable 48-hour decision in modern tech history. Microsoft moved within weeks. By January 2023, Satya Nadella announced an additional $10 billion investment, valuing OpenAI at $29 billion. By the end of 2023, the valuation was $86 billion. By early 2024, it crossed $90 billion in tender offers. The compounding was so violent that even early Microsoft employees were stunned. But the most dramatic moment was still ahead. On Friday, November 17, 2023, at 12:19 p.m. Pacific Time, Sam Altman received a Google Meet invitation from Chief Scientist Ilya Sutskever. The meeting lasted under 30 minutes. The board, citing a vague claim that Altman had not been consistently candid in his communications, fired him as CEO. President Greg Brockman quit in solidarity within hours. By Monday morning, more than 700 of the company's roughly 770 employees had signed an open letter threatening to follow Altman to Microsoft if the board did not reverse course. Satya Nadella, in a masterclass of strategic patience, publicly offered to hire Altman, Brockman, and any departing OpenAI staff into a new Microsoft AI division. The offer made the board's position untenable. By Wednesday, November 22nd, 5 days after the firing, Altman was reinstated as CEO. Most of the original board was gone. The directors who fired him had achieved the rare feat of strengthening the position of the person they tried to remove. Was the coup actually about safety or about control? The board has never publicly clarified, and at this point, the $80 billion in subsequent valuation gains have settled the argument. So here is what most people miss about OpenAI. The story is not really about ChatGPT, and it is not really about GPT-4 or GPT-5. It is about a structural insight that Altman understood in 2019 and that nobody else fully internalized until 2023. Modern AI is a compute game, not a research game. The researcher who has access to 10 times more compute than the next researcher will, on average, ship the better model. This is not a comfortable truth for people who built their careers on algorithmic elegance. It is, however, the truth that determines who wins. By converting OpenAI from a pure non-profit into a capped profit structure and locking in the Microsoft Compute partnership, Altman effectively bought a 5-year head start in the only resource that actually mattered. Why did Google, with vastly more compute internally, lose the race anyway? Because internal compute at a public company gets allocated through committees, quarterly reviews, and product roadmaps. OpenAI's compute got allocated by one person with one mission: speed beats scale. The second hidden lesson is about narrative. Altman is one of the most effective communicators in modern technology. He testified before Congress on AI risk. He toured world capitals meeting heads of state. He positioned OpenAI as the responsible adult in the room while shipping faster than any of its rivals. The dual narrative, safety plus speed, gave OpenAI political air cover that competitors could not match. 3 lessons you can apply. First, identify the one resource that actually determines outcomes in your market. Then lock down asymmetric access to it before competitors realize it matters. For OpenAI, that was compute. For your business, it might be distribution, talent, or data. Second, ship before you are ready when the window is closing. ChatGPT was a research preview that almost did not launch. Shipping early created the category. Third, control the narrative around your category. The companies that define the language of an industry usually end up defining its economics too. Next time on Tycoon Decoded, how Anthropic built a $30 billion AI safety empire in just 4 years. Subscribe so you do not miss it. We publish a new modern empire case study every single week, decoded with the strategic depth the story actually deserves. Hit the bell. We will see you in the next one.